Christmas is canceled for you, my dad announced at the family gathering, all because I refused to co-sign a $50,000 loan for my sister's boutique. I didn't argue, just nodded, took a deep breath, and left the room. But I could feel everyone's eyes on me, judging me like I was the bad guy. My father's plan to isolate me was already in motion. The first real blow came 2 days later. My landlord Pete called, a no-nonsense guy who rarely bothered me unless something was seriously wrong. "Hey, Ethan," he said, voice tense. "I just got a call from someone claiming to be your dad. Said he was worried about you, that you might be in financial trouble. Wanted to confirm you were still paying rent on time." I gripped the edge of my desk, anger flaring. "What did you tell him?" Pete hesitated. "I just said you've always been solid, never missed a payment," but he kept pushing, asking if you'd been acting weird lately. It was strange. I thanked Pete, but as I hung up, I realized this was worse than I thought. My father wasn't just undermining me with family. He was trying to destabilize my entire life. A few hours later, my boss called. Short, professional, but the undertone was unmistakable. "Ethan, we got a strange call from someone claiming to be a concerned family member. Wanted to give you a heads up. You alright?" I felt the ground shift beneath me. My father was trying to make me look unstable, to cut me off from my support network completely. It was methodical and calculated, but two can play at that game. That night, I sat down at my kitchen table with bank statements, contracts, and printouts. I opened my laptop and drafted a detailed letter to my family. Not an angry rant, but clear facts about what had really happened. I laid out everything: the failed businesses, the manipulation, the pattern of using family as ATMs. I included proof of Chloe's previous bankruptcies and records showing I'd loaned her $15,000 that was never repaid. Then I sent copies to my aunts, uncles, and cousins, the people my father would eventually reach. I included screenshots of his interference attempts and explained why I'd taken these steps. When I hit send, I felt relief and fear. I just declared war. The next morning, my phone absolutely exploded. Messages from family members, most furious at my father. My Aunt Linda called, voice shaking. "I had no idea he'd been doing this for years. I'm so sorry, Ethan." My Uncle Mike texted about losing $30,000 to one of Chloe's previous ventures. My father sent one text: "You made a mistake. Don't make it worse." I smiled faintly. He was rattled. For a few days, it was quiet. Too quiet. Then one morning, my bank account was frozen. No warning, just an error message on my app. I called the bank immediately. After a long wait, they explained. A family member reported potential fraud. We had to freeze it for security. I knew exactly who called. I spent 6 hours untangling the mess, sending verification documents. By day's end, the account was unfrozen. But this made one thing clear. My father was escalating. That's when I remembered something. Chloe had used our father's property as collateral for her boutique lease, something he'd probably never noticed in his rush to fund her dream. I called an old friend in commercial real estate. By week's end, I'd quietly purchased the lease on her flagship store space. It wasn't cheap, but I had enough saved. Legally, I now controlled the location of her precious boutique. 2 days later, I walked past the shop. Floor-to-ceiling windows, overpriced dresses, neon sign with her name and loopy script. Chloe was inside, pacing behind the counter, phone pressed to her ear, eyes wide with panic. I watched from across the street as she gestured wildly, voice muffled through the glass. She was learning the hard way that Instagram followers meant nothing without a secure location to actually sell anything. That night, my phone buzzed. Chloe's message was short and angry. "What the hell did you do? Fix this, Ethan!" I leaned back in my chair and let out a slow, deeply satisfied breath. For the first time in a long time, I had the upper hand, but I knew this wasn't over. My father was stubborn and calculating, and I could feel the storm gathering on the horizon. The next morning, an email arrived from the family's legal team. Carefully worded, coldly professional. I was being formally removed as a beneficiary of the family trust. My father had cut me out completely, legally severing any remaining financial ties. I read it twice, then picked up the phone and called my own lawyer. Turns out, filing a false fraud report with a bank is actually illegal. Criminal charges illegal, and my sister's boutique, without that lease, her entire business plan collapsed overnight. My lawyer filed a police report about the fraudulent bank claim. Within days, my father received a letter from the authorities requesting an interview. Chloe's boutique closed 2 weeks later. The Instagram posts stopped. A loopy neon sign came down.